thought I'd make a start on some of the brand new sets introduced, well, according to the box of this one, very late on December 2013, but didn't seem to filter through till yeah, a couple of months ago. This is from the Multimodels 3 model set, the new one. The old one was the one with the, amongst another two models, the small JCB digger, which I have made and there is a video of. I must say this kit looks a little bit better, probably more parts in it as well, and £9 a decent buy. That's from Hobbycraft, £9. They do seem to be one of the better suppliers these days. They always seem to have some sets. Some of the old sets I think they're running out of now. Fortunately I've got hold of some of them already. Now most people tend to make the Cessna type light aircraft, and you can see that there. This is the instruction manual for the kit. Now I do like that plane, but it seems that everybody's made that and nobody seems to have made anything else. So what I've done is made the small helicopter, which of course you can see. Before I go on to the model and the build, I'll just show you the so random, if you like, diagram. We'll use the helicopter. The previous set was just a leaflet based instruction book, and the diagrams was probably knocking on for half the size of this one, but there's the diagrams. As you can see, this is the first page of the helicopter build. There's the helicopter. It looks almost, I think that one is a photo, to be honest. And as you can see, there's stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. They're very, very clear, except for one little bit of the build, which I don't know what you call these parts, but as you can see, these special parts here, not unlike a braced girder, the part numbers C472, and there's two of them, one each side, had a bit of a problem with that, and I'll tell you about that shortly. But the actual diagram for that, which is, well, it begins on stage 10. That's stage 10. It is a little more awkward to see. I wasn't sure whether you actually put the bolt through the third hole in this almost vertical section here, or through the gap in the girder. We'll call it a brace girder. There is another picture of it there, and then it goes on to do exactly the same but on the other side. That's the next stage, stage 11, and then there's another small picture there. But very good instructions. That's in that model. That's the only slight bit of doubt you get, really. Very solid construction, even though there's a couple of 1-bolt fixings, i.e. the skids for the helicopter. They're only 1 bolt, but really tighten them up quite tightly. But a decent little model, and there's quite a few parts left over. A lot less parts being used in this than, say, the aeroplane. There is another model that looks like some sort of go-kart, but you have to go online for that to download that. Like many of the instruction books these days, you get some but not all, thus throwing you towards the Meccano website. But I'm yet to find where these extra models are. I've found the instruction books but not the extra models. So what have we got with this model? Well, it is a basic model. We have a rotor. The rotor's ground nicely, very nicely. Bit too loose, I would say. But unlike the Marks & Spencer biplane that become the triplane, it doesn't keep tightening itself up or coming that loose that it falls off. So that works well, and that is it for the features, really. A solid build, especially in the cockpit area. There were a couple of issues with parts though, not that you couldn't use, but the zinc plating on this particular set, and there's another one I'll check when I get round to it. Let's try and find one. There's a few parts where, I don't know if you can see this, it is a bit, yeah, you can probably see there, you can see this bracket here. There's a bit of tarnish there, or lack of zinc. And a few of the parts are not quite as bright as the zinc plating going back, oh, well, not very long really. That said, there's no gory bits, thick bits or thin bits, it's all pretty even. But it took, what, 59 minutes, or an hour if you like, to do the model. That included hunting around in the packets for the different length screws. The small plastic bag has got a load of writing on probably safety advice. It's a plastic bag, blah 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 blah. But there's that much writing on it, you can hardly see through the thing. And some of the other bags were way too big, so you were fighting yourself through a bag. And I was doing it on a table where there was nothing to stop things rolling off, so I had to keep things in the bag. And in fact I did have to crawl around for a few minutes. So including the crawling around on the floor to find a part or two, took 59 minutes. No real problems. There are a couple of places where you've got all three parts together and try and stop them moving. For example, the bracket for the skid, the plastic bracket there, and this angled strip there, one bolt initially. But of course, once you get on a bit further on, say for example, like here, with the front of the cockpit supports there, it doesn't matter if those are a little bit loose, so you can tighten all this up and get it all in the right position. And then once it's all done, it's pretty solid. The issue I did have with the build was with these, we'll call them, I say, braced girders, of triangular braced girders. Now, obviously it's a bit more difficult to see on here, now the bolts are in, but there are 3 holes there, and there's one down the bottom which is a elongated hole, and the instructions state that you put one in there to secure this rear of the tail on one side and the same on the other side, and then you put one through the middle, I think it's the middle hole, I'll just check that, yes, according to the picture, you put one through the middle hole to secure it in place at this end, but the holes don't line up. As I said earlier, I did have a thought that the bolt went through this gap here, but it's nowhere near. But what it does cause is this tail to curve quite a bit, on course both sides. Now, after I've put it together, you can get away with not having a bolt there because these are quite stiff. I've done the same with the other side. I've added no parts. There was enough parts to do this slight modification in the build. So what I did, even though my thoughts were that once it bent into place and brought it over, both sides over, sort of sandwiched in this bracket here, it would line up, but with it on and this bracket in, it's still nowhere near. So I decided, after they finished the build, like the 1 hour build, it took me 2 or 3 minutes just to find, there's 2 washers still in the set, not used, and standard bolts, which of course you would have used anyway, and there's plenty of spares. I've gone through the space in the plate, this girder plate, turn the washer so that the slightly curved convex side is inside, and just pinched in the brace girders just to hold them in place. And it looks a glaring mistake really. Of course I could have dropped a clanger here and there. That took another 2 or 3 minutes to do, but there you are. That's all pretty good. It's got a bit of detail, like the seat there, and you could, thinking about it, with the parts that are available, and there's quite a few, just show you the parts bag, or bags. There is Quite a few parts there, you can see. Still not used, and if there's any long bolts. It doesn't look like it, unfortunately. But there is a couple of small angle brackets narrow. Oh, there is a bolt. Yeah, there's one bolt, 16mm long. So what you could do, instead of using that one, you could put a taller bolt in and use it as a joystick. But not a bad little model. I say most people tend to make the plane, so I thought I'd be a bit different and make the chopper. Cheers all.